Hi everyone, my name is Christy Rich. I am in Richfield, Connecticut in USA, and I am so pleased to be sharing my story today. So imagine if I could have been healthy 15 years earlier. Imagine if I could have avoided my chronic illness completely by being seen and heard. So today I'm going to start with sharing a moment of when someone finally believed me, finally believed in my chronic illness, and that completely changed my life. So I was sitting in a empty waiting room. It was spring 2010, and it was a very beige waiting room. The chairs were a beige pattern. The wall was a dark, dull tan, and I was holding on to my lifeline. I had pages and pages of typed notes of every symptom that I had experienced for the last 15 years. I had every progression of symptom, every test that I had, every vitamin, mineral, herb that I had tried and was still trying. And I said a little prayer to myself in that empty waiting room. I said, please, please let this doctor hear me. Please let this doctor believe me because no one else had. Please let this doctor help me. And so after a few minutes, they welcomed me further into the office, and I sat on that white, crinkly uh, piece of paper that you sit on the exam table, and I was shuffling with my nervousness. And the doctor came in, and he was confident. He was in his white doctor's coat with the blue pen in the pocket, and he reached out to shake my hand, and I piped up right away. I've been sick for 15 years with a chronic illness, and here's my evidence. And he looked at all these typed pages, these printouts that I had printed out from home, and he said, did you bring all this information for me? And I said, yes. He's like, I believe you. I'm going to do further testing, and we're going to get to the root cause of this chronic condition. And I was so pleased. I was so thankful to be seen, to be believed. So, to take you back, for 15 years, I had struggled with my illness. I had been to doctor after doctor. I had been to the best doctors in Connecticut and in New York City, and they had misdiagnosed me as being depressed. And they had misdiagnosed me as being a hypochondriac because I kept coming back again and again and asking for further testing. And finally, through the process of elimination, they had given me a diagnosis, an incurable diagnosis of fibromyalgia. And my doctor said, through the process of elimination, I have decided that you have fibromyalgia, an incurable illness, and there's nothing you can do about it but accept it. But I did not. I did not accept that I would be sick for the rest of my life when I was so young in the prime of my life. So I went through a very difficult, long, windy journey. My doctors didn't believe me. My friends didn't believe me. My family didn't believe me. On the outside, I looked good. I looked fine. I didn't look like I was struggling with a chronic illness. So even though I wasn't depressed, I had every symptom you could imagine. I had nausea, I had diarrhea, I had constipation, I had adult acne, I had migraines, I even had a seizure, but still, doctors were not believing me. And so I went to a very dark place, and I remember being in my bedroom, pitch black, lights were out, it was very late at night, midnight, 1 a.m., and I was crying. I was in so much pain all over, and I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia, and I just prayed. I just prayed, please, God, help me get over this chronic illness. And then I started doing like a little pep talk. I started saying, Christy, you can do this. You are spirit. You are stronger than your illness. You can overcome this. You can do this. That really helped me. So, taking you back to this new doctor that I went to, this infectious disease specialist, I went back about a week later, and he said, Christy, I am so glad that you came in because we have discovered the root cause to your chronic illness. You have heavy metal toxicity. You have the highest levels of lead and mercury that I have ever seen, off the chart. You should be paralyzed right now. You should have brain damage. And frankly, it's a miracle that you don't. And this is going to require some time. This is going to require some treatment. You are going to need to go to a toxicologist. You are going to need to meet with him once a week, probably for a year, probably even longer because your levels are so high. So I drove home after this appointment and I was just wowed. I was like, wow, finally someone has believed me. Finally, we got to the root cause. But how did this happen? I had no idea how I got these heavy metals. I decided to do a little research. He said to do chelation therapy. So, chelation therapy, I did a little Google search and found out that was the only way that Western medicine recommended to remove the heavy metals. Heavy metals do not simply pass out of your body in time or sweat out. You need to have some substance to attach to them, to chelate, to draw them out of your body. And so they recommend chelation therapy. But this substance, these chemicals are very toxic. They are very painful. It's very costly. I didn't have insurance at the time. And frankly, they caused harm. So this treatment, this one treatment that they would recommend, this could cause paralysis. This could cause brain damage. This could even cause death. So once I saw that my treatment could possibly kill me, I said, no, 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 I'm not going there. Not after struggling for 15 years, trying everything to get well, am I going to risk death. So I went back onto Google, did a little research, and I found natural food that I could take daily. Food without any side effects that would chelate, that would take these heavy metals out of my body. And so every day I started to take these specific foods. I had chlorella in a smoothie every morning. I filled myself up with positivity. I went outside for a walk. I was very weak, but I went out to my little dead end cul-de-sac and walked my two Labrador retrievers up and back, got some sunshine. I meditated for the first time ever, 20 minutes twice a day. And they were testing my blood because my levels were so high. So they were afraid that I was possibly consuming heavy metals in my diet or through my vitamins. And so every 3 to 4 days, they were drawing blood. And instead of them seeing the levels going up with my protocol, they were going lower and lower. They were dropping, dropping, dropping each time. And then by the end of the month, because I gave myself a deadline, I gave myself a month that I would be well by, the levels were zero, zero from the highest this doctor had ever seen to nothing, not a trace, zero. So I had figured out how to remove these heavy metals naturally. And true, my body was still weak. I hadn't exercised in many years. My muscles had atrophied. And frankly, I really needed a vacation and a dash of joy to overcome all the hardships I'd been over the years prior. But all in all, I was well. And this completely changed my life. And I learned so much from it. So I want to share some lessons that I learned. I learned that you can heal yourself naturally. Mind over matter is powerful. It's very important to get to the root cause of your illness to treat it. It's very important to become your own health advocate, and detoxification is a very powerful and underutilized tool to regain health. So, these are some tips I want to share with you today. And also, I really want to emphasize the importance of being your own health advocate. So before this happened, I didn't know the dangers of not being seen and heard and believed. I didn't know that doctors would give up on you, would medically gaslight you. I thought doctors would do everything in their power to make sure you regained your strength and your vitality. But that's not always true. And especially with women, we're often medically gaslit. So I hope by hearing my story today, this empowers you, this inspires you, this gives you a torch of inspiration to carry you through if you are on this journey today with a chronic illness. And if you are looking for a guide, if you're looking for support, of course, I invite you to come work with me. I am a holistic healer, I am a holistic practitioner. But in any case, no matter what, I want to emphasize how important it is for you to be your own health advocate because no one will advocate as much for your health as you will.
Wow, Christy, thank you so much for coming online and sharing this incredible story. It's a pity. It's a story we hear time and time and time again, especially for women. We have ailments. We know something is wrong with our bodies. We go to these professionals hoping we can get help. And 9 times out of 10, like you said, people dismiss the symptoms like you're being a hypochondriac.
Yes.
Now, what was the hardest part of your journey that people don't usually see?
Well, the hardest part of my journey was that from the outside, I looked fine. It's like I was wearing a mask saying, okay, she's fine. She looks like everybody else. And a lot of people just thought I was trying to get attention. A lot of people even said, I'm so jealous of you for you don't have to work. And I'm like, really? I want to work. I want to be a part of society. I want to socialize. I don't want to be home in bed all the time.
Pain.
So people who don't have a chronic illness, who've never experienced it, they don't know what it's like to be
Yeah.
sick every single day. You don't get a day off. You don't get a vacation from your illness. You're sick every single day.
So, were there moments when you doubted yourself? And what kept you going? What kept you striving to find a solution and advocating for yourself?
I think it's really my spirit. My dad always said everything happens for a reason. And
Mm,
some people toss that off and say, "Oh, that's not a deep thing to say," but I really believe it. I really believe everything happens for a reason because now I've gone on this journey and now I have the compassion for others who had a chronic illness, who weren't seen, who weren't heard, who were medically gaslit, and I know how hard the journey is and I can help them. I've done the
mm,
research. I've overcome my illness. I have the tools. And so I believe that I went through this journey to be a wounded healer so I could help others.
mm. Yeah, it's interesting. My grandmother used to say, whatever doesn't kill you, you become a teacher. You
Oh,
went through that experience so you can help and support other people. And now this is exactly what you're doing. When did you realize that your story could help other women?
well, it's funny because for a while I did move to California. So I did get that burst of joy after overcoming my illness, but I
Mm,
kept it a secret. I was a new person. Nobody knew me out there, didn't have any friends or family out there. And so
yeah.
I just didn't share the last 15 years with them. And finally, they're like,
Right.
Christy, you never talk about your past. Why do you never talk about your past? And I started to share my story, and they were inspired. And I'm like, this is
Oh,
inspiring. Being sick was inspiring. They're like, but you did it. You didn't give up. You did it, and
yeah.
you did it naturally. So that's when I said, okay, I've got to share this story. This is bigger than me. This is not just about me. This is about helping others.
Yeah. So, what does being heard mean to you now?
It's really listening. I think we need to find doctors or holistic practitioners who fully take us in, who listen, who don't have a pre planned idea of what they're going to say or always give the same medication. Because that's how my journey began. They just assumed, several doctors assumed I was simply depressed. And many of them just wanted to put me on antidepressants. And
Oh,
I said,
oh.
no, I have symptoms. I have no reason to be depressed. I want to be well. So we really need to listen. I think that's very, very important and is
So,
missing.
how did your experience change the way that you see yourself now?
Well, I definitely see myself as a teacher. I see myself as a fighter. I see myself as someone who's inspirational and who has a big purpose to help others. And so
Mm,
I'm always now thinking outside the box. How can I help more women? How can I make a bigger impact? Because I believe there's nothing more important than our health and wellness.
yeah. The fascinating thing, though, is we forget that our food is our medicine. You slowly started paying attention to what you were putting in your mouth. We eat very unconsciously, right? We eat
Yes.
food, we trust what we're consuming is healthy, is good for our bodies. And through a series of elimination, by the sound of it, you started being aware what was going in that could be creating this outcome. So what was one belief that you had to break in order to move forward?
Belief I had to break to move forward. Well, I want to go back to the food really quickly because it was the
Mm,
food that I took at the end was specifically to take the heavy metals out. It wasn't that I was eating food that was unhealthy. So at one point, or actually early on, I did change my diet. So I did start off with, I I wasn't eating too well. I was living in New York City. I was eating the processed food, having the coffee. And
mm,
so when I got sick, I did become more conscious about reading labels, about realizing that I was gluten intolerant, realizing I had a soy allergy, and keeping away from certain foods. So,
yes.
food is medicine, and we need to be very conscious to put good food in. But you were asking about what pattern did I break? Was that the question?
Yes. What belief did you have to break in order to move forward?
Uh, I had to break the belief that I had to rely on my doctors to heal me.
They should be able to help me. You're paying all this money, going for
Exactly.
all these consultations, all these tests.
Exactly. We put doctors on a pedestal because they have the education and they know a
Mm,
lot, but unfortunately in the West, doctors are not trained holistically. They're not trained to look at the mind, body, and the spirit. They're not trained to heal us through food, through natural ways and remedies, right? They're mostly taught
mm,
to diagnose and then to give medication or surgery. So I really believe that that's missing, and that's what I want to encourage more people to do is to seek out learning about holistic health and wellness. Seek
yeah.
out learning how to live a holistic lifestyle because I believe every single small step we take is either for our wellness or
Oh, yes.
towards the illness.
Yeah, that is so true. So, what was the biggest lesson that your journey has taught you about healing? Hmm.
That we are powerful healers, that our body is wise. A lot of people assume when they become ill that their body is broken, that it's faulty, that it's not working for them, and they get so mad at their body. But our body is miraculous. Just look at the liver. The liver does over 500 functions every day. Okay, we couldn't keep track of 500 things to do every day, right? But our liver does that, and the rest of our body works together as a beautiful system. So it's something that we shouldn't take for granted, but oftentimes we take our health for granted
Uh,
until we have a chronic illness.
yeah, the human body is incredible. I sometimes give the example of, if you cut your finger and you start to bleed, your white blood cells rush to that point to heal it. In a week's time, you can't even see the scar, it just self repairs. So
Yes,
it's constantly looking after us, and we don't realize it. We don't really pay attention to what's
yes.
going on.
Yes, and our beliefs are so important too. So I really want to emphasize how important it is our belief system to believe that we can get well. So I created a framework to help people to remember this. And it's very easy. It's just a short acronym. It's Rich Healing. So my last name is Rich, R-I-C-H.
Right.
And then it's just R is root cause, I is I. C is can and H is heal. So root cause, I can heal. So it's really reminding you that once you get to the root cause, discover the root cause, you can heal,
Yeah,
right? But you must believe. You must believe that you can do this because you're going to encounter a lot of adversity.
yeah,
Doctors, friends, family, neighbors, they may not believe that you can do it. They may hear the diagnosis and say, oh, you need to be in these parameters of what can happen. You can't possibly do something outside of those parameters, right? So I want everyone to remember this acronym Rich, R-I-C-H, root cause, I can heal. Say it over and over again until you believe it, until you believe that yes, you can heal naturally, you can heal holistically, no matter what.
so how can women become stronger advocates for themselves? Sometimes people feel so disempowered when they've gone to several health practitioners, they're being told the same thing. What were the steps that you took in terms of your own advocacy?
Question. So I believe At that point, it's about finding your spiritual center, whatever that means for you. It doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean becoming religious. For me, I became spiritual. So I started to pray. I started to believe in angels supporting me. I started to believe that I'm not doing all of this on my own. There's a lot of invisible helpers that are
mm,
orchestrating things in my favor to help me. And I
yes.
have to kind of get out of my own way and believe and let them do their magic. Some of them may be real people that come into our lives and help us. Those are earth angels, right?
Mm,
But for me,
mm,
once I was open to spirituality, open to something bigger than myself and to a purpose and for things happening in ways that I may not understand right now, but maybe a higher power understands, and it's all for the greater good, all for the best, then that makes me feel much better. And I think that helps a lot of other people too. It kind of settles you, grounds you. Okay, I don't have
exactly.
to do it all on my own. I've got help.
Got some support. And so, what are the practical steps that women can take if they feel dismissed or unheard?
Well, if you feel dismissed or unheard by your doctor, it's important to find another doctor. You
Hmm.
want to find someone who will listen, who will
Yeah.
take you in, who has empathy. Okay, not every doctor has empathy. Not every doctor
Mm,
has a lot of time to spend with you. That's also why I recommend working with a holistic practitioner. We have more
yes.
time to take you in and to hold space for you so that you can express your emotions, right? That's part of
Mm,
healing is expressing your emotions, not just healing the physical body, but the mind, body, and spirit. So it's very important that you choose wisely and don't just say, okay, that person's got 5 stars. That person was recommended by someone else. They helped my friend. Well, who is advocating for you? Who
mm,
is supporting you? And you got to feel that. You got to trust that.
mm. And what I also like is you documented everything. You went in to see that doctor with all of your past records. You were documenting and tracking everything that had been tested already. You were ready to say, hey, listen, there is something wrong with me.
Yes. And
Gone
that's
through all of this. I haven't got a solution. There is something wrong.
Yes, and that's part of my spirit is that I persevere. I don't give up.
I
my
love
dad
it.
said, my dad said, I've got a fighter spirit. I think it's my Aries moon. I'm like, okay, go, go. You can't knock me down. So that's just who I am. Yeah, I just gotta keep
Mm,
going until I get the result that I want. I'm very optimistic that I can achieve what I want if I keep going. But if I stop, if I stall, if I don't take action, how is it going to happen?
now, if your journey could speak, what would it say to women who are still suffering in silence right now?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You can do this. You are stronger than you know. So keep going. Don't give up on yourself. There's a lot of people that need you, your talents, and your gifts. And when
Mm,
you are healthy, you can give more of yourself.
that's
So
so
it's
true.
it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It is a gift to others. So I recommend that you prioritize this so you can give more freely to others.
That is so beautiful. My last two questions for you are a bit of a thought experiment. In the first one, I'm going to teleport you back to this young woman who was unwell, sick, in and out of hospital, unable to function in society because of her illness. If you could go back and sit with her and give her three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I would definitely give her a big hug because I remember how hard it was. I would say to her, keep going, believe in yourself, do not put yourself down, and know that in time, things will get easier, they will get better. This is just a hiccup in your journey, but you are meant for more. You are so talented, you have so much to give to the world, so keep going.
Absolutely beautiful. The next question is futuristic. I'm going to teleport you into the future this time.
Okay.
And we are going to go and meet the 90-year-old you. She's sitting in her rocking chair, surrounded by her family, whoever's with you at the end. Maybe you're on a dance floor with science and technology and your spirit. I see you dancing
I
somewhere.
love to dance. Yes, yes.
So, if you could teleport into the future to go and meet this wise woman who has led you up until this point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her? Not ask her questions. What will you say to her? And I'll tell you the reason why I love asking women this question. A lot of women don't realize that the wise woman is already in us. That she
Mm,
is that quiet voice that tells you, go left, go right, say yes, say no. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. She whispers. But a lot of women don't trust her.
mm,
They look outside of themselves for all these answers. They don't go inwards to tune in to that inner wisdom. What will you say to your wise woman when you finally meet her?
mm. I would say thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for taking risks. Thank you for thinking outside of the box. Thank you for advocating for women all around the world and mothers around the world to improve women's health and maternal health. And thank you for being you. Thank you for being unique instead of just following the trends, following what others are doing.
I love it. And you would thank her for not giving up on you, right?
Yes, yes.
That's
Thank you for.
awesome. Yeah, I have a little game that I play when I struggle with things. It could be trying to make a business decision, trying to figure out what my next step is. I play with the energy of who I am becoming. Fortunately for me, I met my wise woman when I was very, very young. Her whispers became stronger and stronger with time. I talk to her almost on a daily basis. But the biggest thing I do when I get stuck is I go into my meditation and prayers at night, and I will sleep with a question in my head, something as simple as, so what is the next step? And I go to bed with that in my head. And then I wake up in the morning, I'm in the shower, and I have those light bulb moments where I know exactly what I need to do to execute the next step. Or I share with other people what I'm going through, what I'm working on. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle. One person will say something, the next person will say something else. And by the end of the week, it all kind of comes together. So thank you for listening to your wisdom, your inner being, and allowing her to guide you to this point. And now you're helping hundreds of other women around the world as well. Thank you for
Yes,
sharing your story.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to help take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a woman who is feeling stuck, you're in constant chronic pain, you've been gaslit by health professionals, and you're about to give up, don't give up. Look for experts that can help you. I've got Christy's website at the bottom of the screen. Reach out and get the help and the support that you need. Or if you know someone else who's going through this, please tag them on this video, share this video on your social media so we can reach more women as well. So her story is about bringing you women who are go givers and not go getters. Women who want to leave this planet a better place than we found it. This is such a common ailment for women, but so many women suffer in silence. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Christy, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Getrude Matshe, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the HerStory Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.